Welcome to Big Ramatha's Adventure. Today is day 18 of our Alaska road trip, and we are going on the Denali Bus Tour. It's the Tundra Wilderness Tour. It's about 5 hours long. It's going to take us 43 miles into the park, which is as far as we can go right now because of a landslide that took out the road a while back that they're not going to have fixed until 2026, I believe. So let's get over there.
this point that they'll let us off the bus. We've been extremely lucky to see the peaks of Denali. That's 2 days in a row. We saw it from the air yesterday, and today had some really great views from the bus tour. Got some good pictures a little further up the road out the bus window, where you can see a little bit more of the mountain. A lot of it is behind the mountains in the foreground from this vantage point, but really lucky day. got back from the Tundra Wilderness Tour, a bus tour. It was about 5 hours long here in Denali National Park. What do you guys think of the bus tour?
Cool.
Too long? Actually, I saw all 3 of you guys fell asleep at least once. Mom fell asleep for a little bit on the way back. It was pretty cramped, but it is the only way to see the park past a certain point. So, and we got extremely lucky in more ways than one. What was the first animal that we saw? You remember, Amy? Sheep? Dall sheep. First thing that we saw.
Yeah, I saw some people walking some husky and fishing.
Oh yeah. There was we drove. It went past the dog sled area, so we saw a few huskies. And then the bus stopped to let everybody get a good view of Denali.
Yeah.
So we are very lucky. 2 days in a row to see it. It was one thing to see it from the air, completely different experience seeing it from the ground. And then what did we see when we first stopped to look at the map?
Bear.
Not bears. How many?
3.
Great. Saw another mama grizzly bear with 2 cubs, and they looked about the same as the ones that we saw a few days ago. The cubs were a little bit larger, so a year or 2 old already, but still hanging out with mama. And what did they do? Yeah,
They were ice.
they were ice skating. There was a big patch of snow or ice still on the hillside where they were at, and it was pretty entertaining to watch them go running towards mama and kind of sliding across the ice. It was pretty funny. Got the best view up on the screens in the bus. The bus driver had a video scope so that he could zoom way in and show everybody on the screens. Even with my big lens, they were kind of far away. We got much better pictures of the one we saw way up close on the road a few days ago, but that was still cool to see those. And then, remember what other animal we saw?
A marmot.
Yep, marmot.
The caribou.
Yep, and then a caribou. So we saw a hoary marmot, which I guess are fairly rare in the park here, from what the bus driver was saying. We saw them all over the place at Glacier National Park a few years ago. And we saw some in Yellowstone as well, but we saw more at Glacier. So that was pretty neat. And then we saw not 1, but 2 caribou, fairly close together in the same general area. There was one big male bull caribou, huge antlers, just kind of hanging out there chilling. Huh? Yeah. And another one, a little bit smaller, was walking around not too far from it.
I think that's.
It's been walking around. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. Everybody's still a bit tired. This was the bus left at 6:45, so we woke up about 5:30. I am especially tired, even not having the battery and not being able to run the generator at night and not having any source of power. It's been 2 nights in a row that I have not been able to use my CPAP, and I cannot get a good night's sleep without that. Yeah, I'm really tired today. Yeah, normally I've been wide awake and ready to go. All the rest of you guys have been pretty tired, but going to get this sorted out. It's been rough going for me at least. Right now, though, we do have enough sunlight that we're able to at least power the refrigerator from solar. Not going to chance at turning anything else on. We want to save the power for the fridge as much as possible right now. And then later today, we'll be able to run the generator for a little while and get some other stuff recharged. But now It's time to get some lunch. You guys hungry? All right. That's the only thing we had planned for today, but we'll probably end up doing a few more things before the end of the day here. It's the end of day 18. It's a little after 10 p.m. And you might notice that we have power again. And I feel like an absolute idiot. We spent 4 hours going out of our way, 2 hours up to Fairbanks, is closest big city, to a Batteries Plus to buy a new battery. And they didn't even have a 48 volt battery like we needed. So I settled for a 12 volt, something to just get us by. Cost me $700. And then 2 hours all the way back. And then when I went to disconnect the 48 volt battery so I could reuse the cables from it to connect the 12 volt battery onto the 12 volt side, everything sparked to life. It was a loose wire. And a loose wire is always the first thing you should check for it. In my defense, I did check for it, but I only did a visual inspection. I looked at everything and nothing looked out of place. And it wasn't until I went to remove the positive wire from the existing 48 volt battery that determined that it was loose. It's my own fault. I made that cable, I put the end on, I shrunk wrapped the connector or heat shrink the connector into place, and you couldn't see that it had come loose because it was loose inside of heat shrink. And it's likely the highway and all the rough driving from a few days ago that knocked it loose, pulled it loose. And so the battery was never, ever dead at all. It just had become disconnected because it had come loose, and it just weird. It didn't make sense the way that everything turned off.
Yeah.
Because we were standing in here using it and we've been parked for a while. And then it just kind of shut off. But it was the day after our ruckus ride.
Yeah.
So I guess it does kind of make sense. On the positive side, though, no pun intended, if we had not, if we had not made that trip, we would not have had a certain opportunity to see something that really made you excited. What did we see?
We found moose.
We saw a moose, a mama moose, and her baby calf standing in a pond, slurping up so much water.
Oh, yeah. It was so cool.
It was really, really cool sight to see. And there was a whole bunch of people. There was like a little bus that pulled over and a whole bunch of people piled out running across the road. It was pretty fortunate, the positioning of them, because normally it would not be safe to get out of your vehicle to do moose like that. However, they were down a very steep hill, almost a cliff. It was probably at least a 75, 80 degree slope. I mean, it was almost straight down. And we were behind a guardrail, and they were more than a safe distance away. Otherwise, wouldn't have gotten out of a vehicle. Moose are extremely dangerous. We've heard many times that they're actually the most dangerous animal in the area, more dangerous than a grizzly bear. People think that grizzly bears are really dangerous, but the grizzly bears will generally leave you alone or run off as long as you don't run away from them. Yeah, they'll test you. Right, the moose will not test you. Nope, the moose will just run you down. And not even on a good day, I couldn't even hope to outrun a moose. Want to run really fast? I don't want at all. Yeah, really, really fast. So, it didn't end up being a really good day. You know, we got power working again, and the battery was actually still at 75%, so it wasn't near dead. So I'm not concerned at all about running things versus the battery that we put in. They only come with a tiny little bit of charge, and we were only able to get it to about 50% charge before we had to shut the generator off. And the sun was was not producing enough light to charge it in further from the solar. So we were going to be like, okay, nothing can be turned on except for the fridge and my CPAP so that I could finally sleep and get some rest for the first time in 1 or 2 nights now that we have been struggling with the power situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we had a great ride this morning on the bus, saw lots of animals. Gary talked about that earlier. What do they need to do?
You guys should like and subscribe.
Make sure you do what he said, because we still have lots coming up. Tomorrow is going to be another pretty laid back day. We're going to go check out the sled dogs up the road. Might go see if we can get lucky for a 3rd day in a row and see Denali 3 times. We're already extremely lucky seeing it from both the air and the ground. It's a completely different experience in both places. And I mentioned yesterday, only 30% of people that visit Denali National Park ever get to see the mountain. It's usually obscured by clouds. I have a friend that lives a few hours away, a few 100 miles actually. Alaska is a very big state, down in Wasilla, which is sort of almost like a suburb of Anchorage. It's pretty close to Anchorage. And well, the street just fell down on the 3rd year. We'll have to fix that. Anyways, my friend that lives out here has been telling us just how extremely lucky we are that the weather has been as great as it has. The weather is usually not nearly as nice up in Denali. We heard the same thing from our tour guide today. Our tour guide on the bus said that his full season of operating a bus up here is 100 days every year. And out of those 100 days, on average, and he's been doing it for 20 years, he only sees Denali about 20 days out of those 100. So he's only seeing about 20%, where the park stats say 30%. So 2 days in a row is really, really lucky. Maybe we'll get a 3rd day in a row here. We're going to do a few hikes tomorrow as well. And then the day after tomorrow, we are headed back home with a few stops along the way. So we still have at least 12 days. I might add an extra day in here before we have to get home. So we'll see. As always, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bonus footage. I am out here getting eaten alive by mosquitoes because I forgot bug spray. It is little 11:04 p.m. You can see it's still pretty bright out, and Denali is still visible. There's a little bit of clouds just in front of it. You can see a line of clouds over there, but both peaks are visible, and the sun really isn't down yet. In fact, take a look over there. There's the sun, just partially behind the mountains to the northwest, looking kind of southwest towards Denali right here. And if I switch the video over to the camera, or to my DSLR, we'll get a little bit closer look. So there it is, zoomed out at 70 millimeters. Let's zoom in. There you go. Look at that. Well, you gotta. Had to get back inside the truck because those mosquitoes were just eating me alive out there. But I have the camera set up there on the tripod, and I've got a remote live view from my phone, so I can sit in here away from the mosquitoes and snap some pictures. A few clouds have kind of moved in front of Denali, but it's still mostly visible. I can still see both peaks, and there's just kind of like a layer of clouds kind of halfway down the mountain at the moment. But I'm going to sit here for a little bit and see if they move. Maybe I can get some more shots, but I really wanted to come back up here, and I've got this spot really to myself right now. There's one other vehicle that just paused briefly but they're moving on already. I got some okay pictures on the bus tour earlier this morning. It was just very, very difficult to take them out the window of a moving vehicle. And the one time that we did pause to actually see the mountain, I was sitting on the opposite side of the bus, so I kind of had to climb over my kids and my wife to lean out the window with my big lens on and try and get a shot. So now I've got it set on the tripod, much more stable. I can get a much nicer picture. I actually have it framed better. It was hard to really position myself inside the bus out that window to get the shot that I wanted. So very fortunate that it is still visible at all. I did get a couple of shots out there while I was getting eaten alive before the clouds kind of moved in front of it. Again, we'll sit here a little bit longer. I think we still have over an hour of daylight left. So plenty of opportunity for these clouds to move out of the way and get some more shots.
More bonus. I just got back to camp. It's just after midnight, so it is technically day 19 now, but I shot this stuff on day 18 after we ended the video for the day. On the way back down from filming Denali, I saw a porcupine in the road. We've seen a couple, but we haven't had a chance to get any pictures, and since there was nobody else on the road, I could stop. And I got some pictures of a porcupine eating some flowers along the side of the road. It's a pretty big one. It's pretty cool. It is still very light out. I think that the sun still hasn't technically completely set yet. I think it might still be up for another 40 minutes or so. But check out how light it is outside. There's the adventure. I'm tired though. Luckily, gonna get to sleep in a little bit tomorrow. Probably add this footage as a bonus to day 19, since we already ended day 18. But I think everybody else is asleep, so time for me to go to bed too.